It is still Sunday, June 16, 2024. It's 2:25 p.m. I'm documenting what is terrorism inside of my private space. I'm seated specifically inside of my bedroom right now. And what I'm showing you is recalling what I've already established, that the entity is indeed engaged in what is group stalking. Group stalking is recognized through what is the maintenance of the engineered light all around you 24 hours a day. So this is the recognition of multiple shadows as you are outside or even inside, the maintenance of engineered light that's inside of my apartment, even in the dark, and where there is the maintenance of engineered light, the pattern of the blinds on my ceiling under the guise of, which it's entirely idiotic, that the lights outside, the street lamps outside, will create light activity on your ceiling inside, causing your shadow to appear above your head. It's the same exact impossible light activity having nothing to do with the street lamps. This is the maintenance of a specific environment, the specific environment where federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. So reviewing this, going through that, just prefacing my documentation right now with what I've already shown. And this is the maintenance of engineered light. This is occurring on my bedroom wall this morning. This was captured today at 8:11 in the morning. Of course, I went outside into the living room where the entity maintained the light source, as you're looking at it in the video that I captured at 10:29 in the morning. And I reminded you the light source is going to be at that same exact location, which is what I showed you on video yesterday, June 15, 2024, where the light source is in that same exact position over the top of my head as I'm standing outside of my front door, which that in and of itself, 3 hours later, same position of the sun equals not the sun. That is the pattern of conduct, stalking with a light source, which is not the sun. And as I've shown inside of my apartment, stalking with engineered light, which is not sunlight either. This is the pattern of conduct where the entity is maintaining this specific environment inside of my apartment, which is where I remain. And the entity is doing so again when I'm inside of my office, which is the workplace, where the federal group stalking and monitoring is occurring in the workplace. And this is where the entity is engaging in this sort of conduct, where I have, you can see the shape of the window here. 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 layers of what are the windows, which is why I also have multiple shadows. You can see there are 3 shadows. I've got one arm holding it up. You can see me in the background through the mirror. Sorry. Right here, I'm holding my arm up, and I've got 3 shadows of my one arm. What I'm documenting while I sit inside of, this is the bedroom that I'm inside of right now. By the way, this was captured light activity that's present at 6:40 in the evening, where the entity is maintaining the light source outside of my bedroom window. That's what I'm documenting. That's a specific environment. That's not the sun that's going to be still, again, outside of my window in my apartment. And so what the people of the state are engaging in, and I just want you to look at who's going to federal prison for what I'm documenting. The people of the state that you see documented, let's look at their names, because I'm going to point out what I've already established. This is, again, another iteration of the same terrorism that I'm subject to inside of my apartment. This is engineered light that appears on my bedroom wall in the corner, and this light appears and disappears. It's dynamic. It's, in other words, like a centipede. It'll slide up the wall and across the ceiling. And so this is the type of light activity that I'm subject to right now. It's currently, what time is it right now? It's 2:28 p.m. So I want to document while demons are again both hostile and group stalking me. Okay, it's both. It's relevant for what's going to be relevant to enhancement to federal charges and sentencing. And the entity is maintaining engineered light that is dynamic, meaning as I'm sitting in my room, minding my business, and while minding my business is exposing and prosecuting the state of California. So this is very much my business. What is not Lucy Santos's business and everybody else inside of Alvarado Gardens who represent the people of the state, all of whom on this list are going to federal prison. These are the 59 units filled with the people of the state who are engaged in 24-hour surveillance, and they're engaged in what is terrorism. They are also a group that is of the identical condition. These are demon-possessed group stalkers who are in custody of minor children who are going to be taken from their custody. And while I'm inside of my apartment at this property where these apartments are filled with, these are the names of the head of households. The head of households and every other adult are going to federal prison, and they're also going to be separated from the minor children that they exercise any control over or custody over. And it's mandatory federal prison to live at the crime scene, where I'm subject to this method of terrorism. And so at 2:24 p.m., the entity has engineered light that's shooting across. At least this is how it appears while I'm inside of my room. And engineered light, just like a laser. It's very similar to what you're seeing occurring while these demons that are the people of the state are driving on the roads and the highways. And engineered light, as though it's ricocheting off of their cars, moving across the walls. This is the light activity that's occurring inside of my apartment where, again, there's no car that's driving inside of my apartment. There's not even a car that's driving next to me. These demons are on Alvarado Street and they are on the property throughout the parking lot of Alvarado Gardens. And the demons are also stalking in helicopter as I continuously document. But the entity is maintaining engineered light of a demonic nature. And as I'm subject to that, and that's why I'm creating this video right now. And I want you to look at all the names of those who are going to federal prison while that pattern of conduct remains underway. And the entity is engaging what is aiming engineered light. And this is absolutely impossible light activity. It is that which I've already shown is occurring on an ongoing basis when you're looking at the light on my ceiling, when you're looking at the pattern of the blinds appearing all over the ceilings and the walls, and you've also seen the flashing of light. I mean, the entity has provided a wealth of documentation with regard to the impossible light activity inside of this apartment. From the months of February to we are in June of 2024, I have captured a wealth of documentation revealing the impossible light activity. Okay. So you're talking about what is not even, I'm not going to spend 2 hours. It would be more than 2 hours for me to go through all of the multiple folders of evidence that I have because I store them online on the Google Drive. I wouldn't even have enough time to go through all of that and examine all that's readily available, though, for public consumption and also for the federal prosecution of the state of California. And it is the direct evidence, not circumstantial. It's direct evidence that federal group stalking and monitoring is underway in concert with all of those who are in relevant position living at Alvarado Gardens, who are all going to federal prison as well, while they are simultaneously maintaining concerted presence and activity creation. And they are also jointly engaged in that terrorism in the same way that they are engaged in terrorism and the sex offense, corporate invasion of privacy, while the entity is stalking in helicopters on an ongoing basis. So I want to make sure that I point that out. The entity is engaging in what is the same exact equally probative pattern of conduct. While, by the way, so the engineered light is not present on the walls. That is not under any circumstances suggesting that the pattern of conduct has ended, or that the entity is suddenly stopping to engage in group stalking, or that the target individual is making it up. Obviously, you're looking at the engineered light. There is no imagination that is at risk here. The entity is engaging in what is the conduct of terrorism. Dynamic engineered light is moving across inside of my apartment. And so I wanted to, rather than just disregard it because I already have a body of evidence speaking to what is already established, engineered light, impossible light activity, that which is directed light, as I have referred to it, just in order to provide a vocabulary, a nomenclature whereby a federal court can know what it is that I'm talking about that is demonic, all right, that the government is engaging in. I want to go ahead and speak to it because that level of malice, it's equally despicable. And so the entity has, what is this impossible light activity that's moving about in my room, in my bedroom, because that's where I'm at, and doing so while I am remaining inside of my apartment. And so doing so at 2:24 p.m. and light, that's just engineered light, just rapidly moving across the ceiling space inside of my apartment. And this is exactly what's ongoing. As I've documented universal waste, it's the exact same light activity creation that's coexisting with universal waste. And you've already seen those demons in action. While they're driving in the parking lot, engineered light is swiping across apartment building 1818. While they are driving in a parking lot, engineered light, as I have documented, while I'm in bed, okay, in the dark, and just to put yourself in the place of the ordinary target individual, if you may, okay, who does not have the P.O.C., who does not have the legal skill set, who does not have the presence of mind, who does not even have the ability to literally ascertain what is going on their ceiling while they hear somebody driving in the parking lot. That's terrorism. And so this light activity that I'm documenting right now that occurred at 2:24 p.m. while I'm sitting in and the light source still remains over my apartment, which you already know, the entity is engaging what is keeping a light source, keeping the fake sun in alignment with me while a whole population is engaging in a sex offense all day long. The state of California is going to be prosecuted as a terrorist and a sex offender engaging in group stalking by the state of California. And the entity is doing so while engineered light is just ricocheting. And this is seen on the ceiling, just moving about like it's literally like an arcade inside of my bedroom. And this is terrorism that I want to speak to. And so just as a reminder, we're just going to look at some of the evidence of what I've already captured. In case you have forgotten the exposure that the demon possessed have already given regarding the demon possession that they
maintain while they're group stalking. And this is shown through the pattern of conduct. So let's look at, for example, the people of the state that are coming to empty the dumpster. Again, universal waste. This is a very vivid illustration. This light activity that you see on the apartment wall is a light activity that's occurring inside of my apartment while I am sitting in my room. The light source is hovering over my apartment. So this is all manner of terrorism by the state of California. The center of the universe, I remain, while the entity is engaging in what is group stalking me and terrorizing me inside of my private space, while engineered light is seen shooting across the ceiling and then disappearing altogether. That is terrorizing to the ordinary target individual who cannot even prove, by the way, because they're not documenting, they're not thinking to document this stuff. And who are they going to report it to, by the way? Those practicing so-called psychiatry are literally the state facilitating federal group stalking and monitoring and criminally defame them while they know exactly what it is that they are targeting them with. Okay. So like I said, this is speaking to what is already established as a matter of evidence. The people of the state are indeed group stalking. Everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. Everybody, the whole apartment complex. And this is 9:03 in the morning.
Space as well. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they're engaged in this act of terrorism, coming onto the grounds, engaging in the criminal elements, monitoring with the state and LAPD. That is the impossible light moving across the building while Ty Yim.
All right, and that's again Ty Lee is his correct name. This engineered light you see moving across this apartment building while I am on. Pay attention. I am on the third floor of my apartment building, third floor. Never is anyone driving in the parking lot ever going to cause any sort of light activity to appear across the ceiling inside of your apartment. However, that's exactly what I have documented while Universal Waste was group stalking, not emptying the garbage. All they're doing is group stalking. Demons are group stalking while they're holding hands with babies. Demons are group stalking while they're driving up the street. Demons are group stalking while they're driving in and out of the gate of Silverview Townhomes. Demons are group stalking while they're walking out to the dumpster. Demons are group stalking while they're driving onto the grounds delivering delivery food. Demons are group stalking while they're coming onto the grounds and engaging in landscaping. Demons are group stalking when they are coming onto the grounds in the name of being an employee of speaker companies, and they're as you see them coming on and engaging in any repairs, unclogging the toilet, fixing the air, the heater. They're group stalking. And this is all that. This is how you have the dumpster man engaging in what is the hallmark stalking with engineered light. That's how you get that, because the whole population is group stalking. Okay. And this engineer light is moving across the apartment building. And this is what's coexisting with Universal Waste, who represent the people of the state, terrorizing me in the dark hours while I am in my bed, and engineered lights moving across my ceiling. That's terrorism. This is terrorism in the workplace while I see this demon engaging in this show of what is admitting that you're group stalking and admitting that also that you're a demon. And while a population wants to altogether demonstrate that they're a bunch of demons in the shoes of the state, Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison for it. Okay. But this is a terrorism by the state of California while they engage in that in concert with the population. So this is an example of what's moving across, just ricocheting light inside of my apartment today at 2:24 p.m. Like my bedroom is literally like a human arcade, and lights just shooting in. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it is so ridiculous. And this is the demonic behavior that's surrounding you when you are both exposing Satan and then exposing what's going to be the criminalization. And I want to be clear, the entity is engaging in this conduct, sounding helicopter activity, while I am engaging in what is spiritually significant. This is relevant for what is discrimination by the government, who's engaged in group stalking. These demons are hostile to hearing any prophecy that I'm listening to in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. These demons are hostile, stalking in helicopters in an audible manner while I'm engaged in any prayer to the Lord Jesus Christ. These demons are hostile, stalking in helicopters and with this engineered light activity while they are listening to me give praise to the Almighty God. So I just want to make sure that you understand this is in every regard demonic. It is the work of Satan. Satan is exercising a foothold over the government in the state of California and over the people that live here, the whole population, a whole infestation of the demon possessed, which, by the way, has a real effect on the personality defects of those, the decision-making skills, the decision, in other words, to exact harm against innocent beings for no reason, for reasons that they themselves don't even understand. meaning you are lying to yourself. All the demons are lying amongst themselves as to why they are deciding to target someone. But more often than not, there's not even any rationalization or explanation for it. They're just doing it because this is, spiritually speaking, because they have a spirit of Satan on them, but because they are compelled to do so. They know exactly, it's a spiritual condition, in other words. But with regard to that, like I said, with regard to a prosecution for criminal conduct, the specific environment and the criminal activity, meaning you are in every way proscribing what the government is engaging in a malicious manner. The government's demonic activity is evidenced beyond a reasonable doubt, and the government's criminal presence in concert with the people of the state, serving for what is by a conclusive matter with regard to criminal conduct that the government has no legitimate basis to be engaging in, nor is there any legal grounds for them to ever do it in concert with the people of the state, which is exactly what the state of California is doing. And it's caught with its pants down. Now, while the demon possessed, and I'm referencing the state of California, is caught doing that, I'm going to, which is what this video is, I'm going to remind you about what I've already given proof of. The fact that demons are stalking in the path, while this sort of engineered light, which is entirely demonic, coexists with their presence. So while the demons are pacing all up and down in traffic and at Silverview and stalking in planes and helicopters and driving all about onto the property, stalking in their apartments, coming out, everything that they're doing, they're not walking their dogs, they're not taking the trash out, they're not just walking out into the parking lot. They're not driving onto the grounds and walking into their apartment. These demons are engaged in ongoing systematic maintenance of presence. That's the reality of what's going on. These demons are acting in sync. Their time of arrival, their time of departure, their time of whatever it is that they're engaging in, it's pursuant to knowledge of what I'm doing inside of my apartment. And you know that because the fake sun is right over my apartment right now. All right. So like I said, and I've already established the light source. So this is the engineered light. That's not sunlight. That's the P.O.C. And this is just one example. Let's look at another. Let's look at what the demons are doing that are driving.
You have the demon Tiffany
no.
Sherez.
Let's look at this demon Tiffany Sherez. This is a demon that's opening up her car door, and engineered light is moving across the apartment building.
And this is how you're understanding what is demonic. You have the demon Tiffany Sherez.
So I want you to see that. This demon that uses her minor children, her 15-year-old daughter, who's going to be prosecuted as a group stalker. She's doing so. This is engineered light. I want you to pay attention right here. It's on the wall right here where I'm touching. This is engineered light coexists with what is opening and closing the door of the vehicle, which is impossible light activity. And this isn't even the sun that's over me at 9:19 in the morning on May 6, 2024. You're already speaking of knowledge that the light source is over me in an entirely different region. So first of all, this isn't the sun that's over my head, which is how you know what Tiffany Sherez's condition is and her criminal conduct. She is also aware of the fact that she's been documented and identified as a demon, which she's hostile to, which I don't care to. It's not my job to care about that. I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? But I pray that she gets deliverance, but I'm going to prosecute her today for what is federal group stalking and monitoring. So she's engaging what is opening and closing a door, which is activity creation. This is how you get the impossible light activity moving across the wall. She's monitoring me. And she's doing so with a specific intent to terrorize, because she's repeating this after I specifically documented her molesting and terrorizing with engineered light. This was captured on May 6, 2024. This is the light activity that's occurring while I'm on a third floor of my apartment building on the same property. And the entity is engaging in what is group stalking through the people of the state. Tiffany Sherez represents the whole entity, the population that are the people of the state. Demons stalking with methods of engineered light, just like you see in this video. While this demon is stalking in the path in her white Telluride, she also likes to engage in terrorism with her 15-year-old daughter, in concert with the LAPD, and using her minor children as well, the 4-year-olds and the little children that she has, that she's teaching them to be sex offenders and terrorists in the United States, like they do, by the way, in third world countries with those governments that are teaching children how to use weapons, how to murder people in the name of whatever cause that they are subservient to. That's what Tiffany Sherez is. That's what the people of the state are doing. And we're supposed to be a more dignified version of that. Okay. It's even more despicable because we are on the world scene, calling ourselves the free nation, injecting ourselves into international affairs as though we have some pedestal to be on. And unfortunately, the reality is that it's not true. It's not. So while we are bowing down, and by we, I'm not speaking for, I mean this country. I'm a part of the same country that my corrupt government is. We are the United States. Now, while I do not stand alongside what they are doing because they're doing it to me and they're doing it because they serve Satan, this is demonic activity. We represent the same country, even though my government that's betraying me is engaging what is violating the laws that govern the whole purpose, the essence of this country. Nevertheless, we're both in California together. We are in the U.S. and we are injecting ourselves into international affairs. There is a level of despicable hypocrisy there. That's all I'm speaking to. So the entity is engaging in group stalking. This is another example of what I'm referencing when I'm speaking to the impossible light activity. I want you to recall what I'm documenting on, let's look at
demonic light moving across. They're all going to federal prison.
The people of the state driving onto the grounds. This is Jeanette Balderas. Okay, she's in the medical field. This terrorist is going to be removed from the medical field. She's engaged in the pattern of conduct at 9:16 in the morning. The light source is still over me at the same property inside of my apartment. While these demons are on the ground and engineered light is moving across apartment buildings outside, there is no point ever where sunlight is ever appearing inside of a third floor apartment building on the property. Spewing across my walls and ceiling. Never. This is the entity that is, again, targeting me in the same way that you're looking at while I'm in the workplace. This is what's relevant here because I'm going to prosecute the people in the state of California, the whole entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct in the workplace. Okay, that's why Speaker Companies is not going to survive. That's why that corporate office is going to federal prison. That's why the employees of SoCal Speaker Companies are going to federal prison. That's why everybody that lives at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison. Okay, so, but look at this light activity.
The demonic light moving across, they're all going to federal prison. That's Jeanette Balderas, who has given up her...
That has nothing to do with sunlight. This is stalking in the path, engineer light moving all across. You're looking at what is the literally the admission of one who seeks to terrorize you, seeks to communicate hostility. They know that they're being documented. They engage in more of this conduct as you document them. This is a threat communicated by the state. Let me be clear. Jeanette Balderas is the state of California acting vicariously, pursuant to the same identical pattern of conduct in the specific environment, in the shoes of the state, in other words. Group stalking, living at an apartment complex on behalf of the government that's engaging in state surveillance. And admitting and showing the rest of the world what demon possession looks like. It looks just like this. It looks just like this, demon possession. You know them by their deeds, by their behavior, and you know the environment. The light source, which is not the sun, is over my head.
That's how you know. Given up her career in medical profession.
That's how you know what she is and what she's doing. You'll see the light source through the window, the driver's side window of her vehicle.
Giving it up.
All right, just in case you missed that, it's right there. This is the light source that's still over my head. You can see it through the van here. This is the light source. This is at 9:16. The light source is still over me at this same exact property right now. It's 2:47 in the afternoon. All right, and as you can see it right here while I'm in the parking lot, that is nowhere near as at 9:16 in the morning. Where was I this morning? I was inside of my apartment in alignment with building 1806, which this is not. While it's over my head, while Jeanette Balderas is crossing path in the parking lot outside of my leasing office, I would not be able to see it through my living room window. That's the pattern of conduct, stalking with a fake sun. This is a demon stalking in the path with engineered light. While the population wants to exhibit their demon possession, it becomes legally relevant. While the government is group stalking you in concert with the people, it shall be a prosecution for terrorism. While I'm inside of my bedroom, the entity is maintaining engineered light, just swiping all across and appearing and disappearing like it's an arcade inside of my bedroom. So I'm going to remind you about what I've already shown you, the fact of engineered light. And while the entity is engaging in this method of terrorism, under no circumstances avoiding prosecution by the people of the state who are all going to federal prison that live here, and the impunity that's exhibited through engaging in such despicable methods of malice and still showing how obsessive you are in your group stalking endeavors. This is
across the gate. Okay, that's P.O.C.
I want you to see the people of the state that are driving on Alvarado Street in the engineered light that will move across that black gate right there. Impossible light activity coming inward. The black gate coming toward me on that gate, while a demon is driving down Alvarado Street, which is absolutely ridiculously absurd light activity. Nothing but demons, okay? And they are stalking, group stalking, while I remain in my apartment, and the fake sun is over my head. The whole population is keeping me under surveillance, and it is evidenced through what I'm documenting now at 2:24 p.m. engineer light, just shooting like an arcade inside of my room, shooting into my bedroom above my head, like across the ceiling. It was like a rich orange engineered light. And this is impossible light that you're going to see. This is the reality of what demon possession is. You're not going to see demon possession based on somebody's race, based on somebody's age, based on somebody's waving to you and smiling at you, which this demon did. You are going to recognize it through the unnatural environment, which you are now apprised of. You're not ignorant of it anymore. And also the light activity, which you will from here on for the rest of your life be paying attention to, just to be informed. Not because you need to be fearful or paranoid, but you are just mindful. You are cognizant. You are no longer ignorant. All right, so the entity is maintaining this light source, and I want you to see the friendly demon.
Currently in custody.
Okay, very friendly. While she's crossing path, creating light activity, monitoring to the sound of my voice, which is the audible activity. The light source is directly above my head as she's targeting me. She's going to federal prison, then she's going to be deported. All right, and she's monitoring with the demons on Alvarado Street, where Engineer Light's going to move across this black gate.
Minor children and acting in concert as one, crossing path, pacing together, walking by me, driving down Alvarado.
So you can see it. I get really active in my videos and I move too much, sorry.
Pacing. Doing so.
Hold on 1 second. Because there's a lot to gather, so I'm covering a lot of bases together, but pay attention to the shimmery light on the gate.
By me, driving down Alvarado, pacing.
All right,
doing so.
I don't know if you saw that. Let's zoom back some. There it is right there. The vehicle crosses path.
Driving down.
This is the vehicle crossing path. Okay, somebody's driving downhill on Alvarado Street. That's called crossing path with me. They're group stalking. Now, the next thing you'll see is a white shimmery light on that black gate.
Alvarado, pacing.
Okay, that's it right there. So let me back up some. That's the shimmery light across the black gate. Okay, that's coexisting with what is crossing path. That's a demon whose name, I didn't even see that demon's face, but you know them by the environment, the activity creation. Where's the fake sun? The fake sun is directly over my head at 9:16 in the morning where I remain right now, and the light source is still over me at the same property. Where is the light activity? It's moving across a black gate, coming in the direction toward me while somebody is crossing path in a vehicle. Driving in, by the way, what's covering all the property is engineered light, not sunlight. Nor is that sunlight that's going to appear at a great distance after the car already crossed path. Nobody's holding a plastic gun that's shooting light across the gate. Okay, this isn't a video game. All right, this is light activity. You're seeing it's appearing across the gate after the people of the state cross path. So let's back up some so you can see that. And it happens twice.
Pacing together, walking by me, driving down Alvarado, pacing. Doing so, an engineer light moves across the gate. Okay, that's P.O.C. It is currently 9:22 a.m., 9:23 a.m. You're looking at the light source that's over me as I showed you on video while I'm in front of 6.
And the entity starts sounding helicopter activity. This is all manner of terrorism when you're paying attention to the pattern of conduct. So it happens twice. There it is again. So let me break this down for you. Here you go.
In custody of minor children and acting in concert as one, crossing path.
All right, so that was the first time. I don't know if you saw that. Let me back up some.
Concert as one, crossing path, pacing.
All right. If you pay attention to that, let's see. There it is right there.
Crossing.
Right here, here's the white light appearing. That's an all black gate. That's not the color of the gate. The gate is black. So that's substantial white light that's moving across the bottom of the gate, occurring while a third-party group stalker is engaging in state surveillance. Driving by on Alvarado Street is a criminal act done on behalf of the government that's engaging in massive surveillance, group stalking, in concert with the state of California. The entity is, the state of California uses helicopters to practice this group stalking system in concert with the people of the state. This is also why you hear in this video, that is literally 28 seconds, you'll hear the helicopter activity sounding. The demons are maintaining presence right above my head in helicopter, while the people of the state are maintaining the elements, just engaging in all sorts of demonic activity, stalking with engineered light, stalking in the path, the minion right in my face, waving high and smiling while she's monitoring me. Okay? She doesn't speak my language. She's an aged person. She's a different ethnicity, different race, has nothing to do with the pattern of conduct as you clearly see. She could be bent over on a cane. Okay, she could claim that she has ADD or bipolar. It's all legally irrelevant. That's what you're going to understand. And I don't care if you're 73. I don't care if you are 23. You're going to federal prison. All right. And those that are exhibiting an ongoing ability to engage in the pattern of conduct, which again, let me be clear, demon possession is not limited to the age of majority. Engaging in what is a specific intent and pattern to engage in criminal monitoring with the state. You want to act like an adult and catch this federal prosecution as an adult. That's exactly what these teenagers are going to get. By the way, many teenagers, I've documented them, and I've fully documented this on my podcast as well. They are equally engaged in targeting, equally engaged in what is the malice that's exhibited. Like I said, this is demonic. And so these teenagers are engaging in the same predatory conduct, and they do so with malice. Satan very much knows that they are supposed to maintain the appearance of being innocent and being presumed to be innocent because they're younger than me. Okay, or because they're a different race than I am. And because the presumption is going to be that I, being the older person in custody of a phone, talking about criminal activity that no one's ever heard of, oh, this younger teenager is automatically innocent, a victim. Let me be clear, that's malice. That is malice. And when you're dealing with demon possession, you actually are dealing with what are more mature young people. Maturity with regard to the ability to engage in what is highly malicious conduct. They are very much aware of their form, how they appear, what are the assumptions surrounding that appearance. And that's exactly why they are the weaponry that the state of California uses to engage in this terrorizing system. Be very clear about that. It's called malice. No teenager, no minor is going to escape federal prosecution for engaging in terrorism with the state. And like I said, it's a sex offense and it's an act of terrorism. And if you want to engage in that, if you want to act with this government, which you do not, but that's what they're doing, that's exactly how they're going to be prosecuted. And that's going to follow you into your age of over the age of 18. And you're going to be treated just like every other terrorist and sex offender, period. Because this is what the government is doing. So here in the United States, the so-called dignified people that we are, we're going to treat them no differently than any other egregious criminal terrorizing American citizens. Okay, violating our sense of privacy and the right to justice under the laws that exist, even when that criminal is the domestic enemy, our own government, even when it is them. To the contrary, moreover, even more so because it is the government, because it is them, because it is the state. So anyway, this is the entity that is stalking in the path with this light activity that is moving across the gate. You see that? That's impossible light activity. You see the white car? This demon is crossing path, targeting me. I don't have to have a conversation with them. Knowing the group stalker's name is legally irrelevant. What's the malice of the entity? Oh, that they're a paranoid schizophrenic. I don't even know that person. They're imagining it. That's somebody, classic mental illness. Let me be clear, that's coming out of the mouth of the state that wants to maintain the fact that group stalking is a fallacy singularly maintained by one suffering from some mental incapacity. That's P.O.C., criminal defamation. So this is the entity that is indeed engaging in the P.O.C. while an absolute stranger at a distance from me is engaging and monitoring. And this is exactly what they're doing while I'm inside of my apartment and engineer lights on my ceiling. And while engineer light is shooting across my ceiling in my bedroom like there's an arcade. And so I want to make sure that I go out of my way to document that. This is what I'm subject to while I'm remaining inside of my apartment. And it is currently 2:57 p.m. It's documentation of what is terrorism by the entity that's engaging in a massive sex offense while I remain subject to terrorism by this population who are both not only monitoring me, engaging in federal stalking on the venue of the internet, but are exceedingly hostile to its exposure because of the fact, in other words, the population, the government itself, which is a threat to your life, by the way, that's a threat. And I would be remiss to not outright mention the fact that the federal government has left me in this position while I am, my life is repeatedly remaining under threat by a government that is hostile to my existence because of what I'm exposing about it, because I am serving to prosecute it and documenting it. So I just want to point that out. Okay. There is a real-time emergency that exists for so long as a government, the whole government, a whole population is targeting one person. That's a real threat to your life and your safety. All right. It is currently 2:58 p.m. This is P.O.C.